Let me tell y'all something. This AP The Plug here with the Ticket Plug. Look, I have the easiest way online that you can flip your bread. We sell tickets to concerts, comedy, festivals, sports, theater, Broadway, all that type of stuff. And it's real easy. I can show you how to do it. Go to thetickettrap.com. Again, thetickettrap.com.
Great, man. Been almost a couple of years since I've been on the podcast.
It's crazy.
I know.
But I've been watching like every other day.
Wow.
I ain't gonna say every day. That won't be telling the truth, but
right.
Every other day watching you guys.
The fact that you still watch is an honor, man. And we definitely appreciate you. Definitely been fans of your career throughout, man. So to see that you sitting back and watching us and appreciating our content is definitely respected, bro. So thank you.
Absolutely.
How you feeling, though, man? Let's just start right there, man. How you feeling? How's life? I mean, so you got your business, you represent your business and your logo and everything like that. So how's life with you, man, in 2024?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's a whole other journey, man, since I retired. I went back to school when I retired. Went back to UCLA for some extension courses. I did like digital analytics. I did coding. When I was going to college, my first major was going to be architecture. So that side, I was always into school, with the exception of my freshman year because I was just straight out of the projects, went right into a all boys Catholic school, and my academics wasn't. I was failing, you know. But then I picked it up. I got a letter from Princeton. I could have went to Princeton and different things like that. But now that takes you to like when I retired, why I went back to school and kind of did my thing.
Right. That in the background, talk to us about your business back there.
Yeah, you know, I was always into amateur sports, especially being from New York. So, you know, it's like a lot of street ball in New York. Right. And one of the issues in New York City was, you know, like if you don't go pro, then you don't really get a chance to, you know, make any money. Like now they got nil. But, you know, back in the days in New York City with Rucker and everything, you know, those guys was walking billboards. I was the last part of that era. Mm-hmm. So I decided to try to do something in 2018 and where we could bring athletes together with pros and influencers. And then COVID hit. So it kind of paused us. So we changed the model a little bit. But the concept came from like amateur athletes.
Sweet.
You brought up the Rucker. I was just trying to pull it up real quick. I didn't have time, but I think it was like the 25th anniversary or something where Jay-Z and Fat Joe supposed to have their epic game at the Rucker with their squads. You remember that? And if you do, who you think would have won that?
Well, I remember those games, but you know, when I think about those games, I'm always asking myself. I see all this news, but where was they when we were winning 3 championships? Where was everybody at? You know, I was there. I don't really know where. I'm like, but these are like these one-off games and stuff. But right. I got two championships with Fat Joe. I got one with Sean Combs. We're 18-0 with Sean Combs, and with Fat Joe, I got him 2, and I got 1 for Tony DeRosa. I played for Mousy. But that game, I think that game, I remember that summer, everybody was coming. Kobe came, KD came one summer. But by that time, I was already worn out. I was playing from 16 until like 25 or 26. I played like 10 years in the Rucker.
Right. When you think about the Olympics just ended, man, and it was wild. Starting with the men, man, Steph Curry, LeBron.
Yeah.
You know, talk about that. And now it seems like the competition gap is now closing. France is on their neck right now.
Serbia.
Talk about the Olympics, man.
I know I was a little worried about Wembanyama because he's young, but he's a difference maker. He like Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
He gonna be the next thing we see in terms of like if you never saw Wilt, well, you'll get a chance to see Wilt right now. Because when Wilt first came into the league, he was only averaging 13 points. People forget that. They had that famous quote by NBA players that were saying, like they were firemen. You know, these guys was playing against firemen back in the days. But when you look at Wilt, he wasn't averaging 50 until he got better. Like he came in averaging 13 points, 20 rebounds, always rebounding. And I think they're going to see the same thing from Wembanyama. You're going to see a 40 piece a night at some point in time. You'll see 40, 42, 44 a night.
You know, I'm glad we got you on because there's been this ongoing debate amongst NBA stars of now and NBA stars of yesterday on who would win some of these battles. Like a lot of people are saying that this USA team would kill the dream team, and you compare Wemby to Wilt Chamberlain, but you got Wemby with handle and can shoot on the outside. You got these centers that are out here with handle and things like that. Now, how do you think the old school would compare to the new school, and how do you think they will cross generate? Like, in your opinion, who, if you do have an opinion, like how would they collide if they were to go against each other?
Well, for one, the new school didn't have to go against oppression while playing. So imagine if these guys had to go through oppression. There will be all sorts of whining.
Mm.
and then two, imagine if they had to play in flip-flops. I mean, Larry Bird's career ended because he was playing in those thin Converse shoes. He couldn't even finish 15 years. So I think like it's an even playing field. You know, you can't, until I see these guys go get some Converses and play 2 years straight in some flip-flop Converses, and then let me know how your knees feel after that. So I think like they're not taking everything in consideration. It's an even playing field. Will Chamberlain played against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. People forget that.
Yeah.
Kareem played against Hakeem. You know what I'm saying? Hakeem played against Shaq. You know, the lineage passed through just like the heavyweight championship belt. You know, that belt has passed through from Dempsey to all these guys all the way up to Tyson Fury, and you know, so it's like the same. It's an even playing field, and I think a lot of these guys got it wrong. You know, now I think some guys would like Stephen Curry would have been fine. You know what I mean? Even though he's small, but look at Muggsy Bogues, he was small too. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes the '90s era they'll say like, "Oh, our guys was tough and." Or you're too small, but that's not true. Look at Muggsy, look at Spud Webb. They thrived in that era, and there's a lot of guys that's bigger than these guys in this era that probably wouldn't thrive in that era. It was a lot of people with skill on the bench in the '90s.
Right, I just got back into watching basketball because I'm an Iverson fan. I was a Michael Jordan fan, but I always talk to Cuz. I'm like, yo, ain't no real defenders like that no more. It seems like the offensive players, like there's nobody who just comes in here and just like, I'm gonna shut him down tonight. It's like the offensive players get to do what they want to do. The Ron Artest is not there. The Michael Jordans, the Kobe's. Do you feel like the defense, has died down in the NBA? It's not like it used to be.
It's really the rules. It's not the players. It's the rules.
Okay.
When you change the rules, so what happened was when you look at back in even the mid 2000s, it was mostly Americans, not even a lot of Canadians at this point. And the way we play in America, it comes from the 50s. It comes from being told a black can't play on the team. It comes from, having just to play in the park because you can't play in the gym. And that grind became American basketball. That's our style of basketball. Nobody has that experience. So a lot of people is reaping the fruits from our labor, and even the past labor. They set the groundwork. They had to sign those little crappy deals, and here, so you can't really talk about that. You got to always give it up. Yeah. Because so many people made so much money off the backs of these players. They set the tone for me, and then we set the stage for the future. We locked out twice, and people lost money. You got to think about all the people that lost money that really didn't have it to lose as an athlete, even though it was millions of dollars. They taking all that. See, people not thinking about all that stuff, so you always got to give it up.
What do you think about Cube and the Big Three? And then what do you think about his back and forth with what's the commissioner? I wanted to say David Stern, but it's not Stern anymore.
Oh, Adam Silver.
Yeah, Adam Silver and the NBA against the Big Three. What do you think about all that?
Well, I mean, I like the league. I like the Big Three league. I'm also an NBA advocate, ambassador, and NBA cares. I love the NBA. I played in the NBA. I always wanted to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, I think like what Cube did is incredible. I can't really get in between of his kind of take on the NBA because I think the NBA has been around for so long. If anybody has a first type of argument, it probably would be the ABA, because the ABA got totally wiped off the face of the earth. They're around today, but they, kind of null and void. I mean, Ice Cube, I think he's doing a great job. I think he just got to keep doing what he do because he's been around for 7 years, and I played in the league. A lot of people played in the league. So I almost get the argument, but I don't have enough information, nor do I really care, about what's going on there. But I think he's doing a great job.
Fair.
Right. Another common debate that we always hear, and even me watching LeBron in the Olympics, I'm like, I got a new respect for him. He took over the semifinal game. But often people say, all right, is it now time to make LeBron better than Jordan? Or what is it going to take for LeBron to be better than Jordan? Now, I heard one of your clips from your interviews. You said you think Jordan was better than LeBron because, you know, Jordan dropped 40 or something on you at an older age. And you don't think that LeBron would be able to drop 50 on you at any point in time. So talk about that, man. And what's it going to take for LeBron James to be better? Or is he better than Michael Jordan?
Well, yeah, definitely. I think so when LeBron came into the league, he definitely I would say 80% of the games or 75% of the games, like he gave me work. Like it was really unexpected. But with Jordan, I played against LeBron, played against Kobe, played against Jordan. And I just felt like Jordan at 40, even at 38, his game was just so polished. Mm. You know, you couldn't leave him open. You had to be way up on him. It was nothing you could do. He was going to go to another move. He's going to go to another counter. Now, LeBron is having more longevity. But I think back in the days, the veterans practice. Even my last year in the league, I was 17 years in, and I had to practice. Now guys are not practicing, so now you have more legs, right, for the game versus leaving it in practice. So you got to take that in consideration when you're matching up. Even not just LeBron, actually. Right. LeBron, he's definitely on another level. But even just players in general, we practice, and guys can't wait to get to practice. When you practice hard before a game, that's why they don't practice now, because your legs are going to be gone. So now instead of getting 30 or 20, you're only getting 10 points. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So people don't got to take that in consideration. In terms of LeBron being a GOAT, I think he's up there. I think his stats, they got two different sets of stats. You know, LeBron is the number one scorer of all time. But we often can, kind of compare Jordan to being the best scorer, 9 scoring titles. Like, that is incredible. Because sometimes we'll say, okay, the best player is the best scorer. Well, if you want to say that, then you got two arguments. Is it going to be LeBron's 40,000 or is it going to be Jordan's 9 scoring titles? Mm-hmm. That's a hell of an argument right there. And if I had to pick, I'm probably going with the 9 scoring titles. Mm-hmm. But then on the other side, I'm going to be like, damn, 40,000 points.
That's a lot of goddamn points.
And still going. So LeBron very well, if he's not the greatest now, when he's retired, he has a hell of a case to be the greatest of all time.
Now, out of all of them, who was the hardest to defend? I think you kind of already said it. Jordan?
Yeah.
How close was Kobe to Michael?
Huh?
How close was Kobe to Michael Jordan? And
it's all inches. They all those guys are inches away from each other, man. It's not a major difference between like Jordan and LeBron or Kobe and Mike. Because Kobe was also super difficult to guard. Kobe could shoot from anywhere. Yeah. I think I give Mike the edge because his efficiency, and he was just a killer. And you can feel it. I give him a little edge over those guys.
Yo, what's your thoughts on JJ Redick taking over for the Lakers? It's been a lot of debate about that. Obviously, JJ Redick is a very accomplished NBA player, but had 0 experience as a head coach. And a lot of people had a lot to say about that. As a former NBA player, what's your thoughts on him taking over LA?
I mean, it's a hell of an opportunity. I tried to get that job too. I have actual coaching experience. I coached Division II girls for the last 9 years, 5-6 years, and then high school basketball while I was playing NBA. But I think it's a hell of an opportunity. And this happened before. Nash came right out. Fisher came right out the league. They both coached right out the league. And this also happened with guys doing media and then getting into the league. I mean, it's a chess move. And I think people should take a page out of JJ Redick's book. You see what Earl Watson did. Earl Watson did the same thing, but he did it through a way of a basketball camp. He had a basketball program, built up his credibility, became head coach with no coaching experience. So this has happened before, and it's just a hell of an opportunity. And I wish it was me.
Is it good or bad? The opportunity and just how not just him but other people got to the seat they're in through different avenues than the traditional. Is it good or bad?
I mean, if it was bad, my argument would be, other coaches should have had the opportunity. Now, if from a good perspective, you got to think about it. If you own a team and you're the GM, you do what you want to do. You're not doing what somebody else is telling you to do. And so, if I was in that seat, would I have hired someone I'm cool with, or someone that I feel like when I go on vacation, the team is going to run. So it's hard to say why that decision was made. Now, yeah, was it unfair? Is an argument that it could be unfair for some coaches that was there, like a Sam Cassell came up. I always put my name in the hat because I got actual coaching experience. I was actually publicly trying to get the job.
Right.
But it's just the right time. You got to be in the right time. You got to know the right people. I mean, it's a business. It's not, it's not like it's not only a game, and imagine, and I look at it from all perspectives because, like I said, I wanted that job also. I would have loved that Laker job. But when you look at it, if you're a GM or if you're an owner, you're going to make the best decision for you, and who knows what the reason was.
Right.
I mean, JJ Redick built a great relationship with the right person, and I'm a Laker guy anyway. So even though I was trying to get the job, as I didn't get that job, now I go back to supporting the Lakers. I work for the Lakers. I do things with the Lakers. I got a lot of love for the Lakers, but I mean, you can make an argument in all three aspects. Good, bad, or was it unfair?
What's your thoughts on Brony James? A lot of people feel like he may not be ready, and a lot of people say that the only reason why he even got drafted was because his dad is LeBron. His dad wanted to play with him. Can we get your honest opinion on? Bronny?
No, definitely. I think so when I was watching, I'm a fan of LeBron,
right?
So immediately I'm caught up in the hype, right? Before people started really before the media started bringing light, like, oh, this is not fair, or he's not ready. In my mind, initially I'm like, well, I can't wait to see Bronny play with LeBron. What I mean? That was my first initial reaction. And then as I'm watching Brony play, I'm just thinking about, oh, wow, if he did this better, like he going to be ready. So I'm looking at ways to just make it a positive. I never looked at ways to make it a negative or like he's not ready. But then as media started to talk about it, then I said, okay, let me analyze this. So as I started to analyze it, for sure, I think if I could have played with my son, I would have did the same. You know what I mean? So as I don't really have an understanding or a perspective on the draft picks. I don't know who's number one. I know women's basketball. I can tell you female basketball. I can't tell you about college guys. Okay. I didn't even know anybody named that got drafted besides Bronny. I knew all the first round, most of the first round picks of women's basketball because I coach Division II women's.
Yeah.
But I think maybe somebody else could have got that spot. That's definitely a hell of an argument to make because, there are even players that was a little bit upset that they didn't get that spot. Yeah. You know what I mean? And is it fair? That probably not fair. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, but like once again, is it a good move? It's probably a bigger move than if you was to bring somebody in there, even if they was better. Who's going to sell more jerseys? Bigger name. So it's like, is it fair? Probably not. Was it the right move? I mean, probably. I think in the end, it's going to be the right move. And I also think Bronny is a pro. I don't know what people are talking about. When you watch Bronny, look at his body. I mean, I don't mean to compare him, but look at Eric Snow.
Yeah.
Eric Snow?
Yeah.
Eric Snow was a hell of a player. And I think Bronny's going to be better than Eric Snow.
Yeah.
No matter how, if he's not like an all-star type of player, he's definitely going to grow into an NBA player.
Play the NBA, that's fair. Absolutely.
Maybe not like he'll probably always get overpaid.
Right. But, good perspective. Yeah.
Let's talk about the WNBA. My bad, I had a slight thought. Let's talk about the WNBA for a second because it seems like they're getting more attention from these superstars coming into college, going into the NBA now, or WNBA now than ever before. But will we ever see the numbers hit to where they can respectably say, okay, these women deserve this X amount of money? Because there's always this discrepancy on how much they get paid compared to the men. But then viewership and just overall support for the men's brand is more than it is for WNBA athletes. So what do you think about the WNBA brand right now in 2024? And will it ever evolve to where these women can start really getting compensated and looked at the way they deserve to?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I love women's basketball. I coach women's basketball. And in 2018, even the brand behind me, we started out doing women's basketball. And you're talking about local women's basketball in Los Angeles, where it was influencers, but it wasn't that big. but I saw something in women's basketball, because one thing I realized was, as I wasn't involved in the WNBA, which I would have liked to have been involved in the WNBA on the marketing side, not on the coaching, or, well, if it's head coaching, yes. But, and one thing I saw was, and I did a panel. I was in Saudi Arabia. I actually did a panel on this with some women that was leading NBA Africa, and they was asking the same question. And I said, women products don't support women's sports. This was before it got big. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's arguing about, women not getting paid the same. But hold on one second.
Right.
We just watching. We're not, I'm not cutting my own check, and I'm not cutting their check. Women products did not support women's sports. If you got women product, women are the biggest consumers in the world. So if for women products, and if you're a female founder and you own a women's product, you should be putting some of that budget into women's sports. That's the solution. Because if men, if women's, I think, is 80% consumer, the women's, because they spend it on their child, they're spending on their makeup, they just love to spend.
Yeah.
If that's the case, and I think now you're seeing that, even if you look at the WNBA All-Star Game, you'll see cosmetics commercials now. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I tell myself that I had a little bit to do with that, but now you're seeing the check is going up. You look at L'Oreal, you look at Chanel bags. Now a lot of these companies are owned by men, which is, if you're going to launch a women's product as a man, then you need to support the women movements. And I think that was the biggest issue. So from that perspective alone, and you look at Caitlin Clark, and you look at even the women, they just coming on the rise right now. I think you got to market them differently. You also can't market them like a man. You got to market a woman how she wants to be marketed. I don't know what she want to wear. I don't know what she want to say. But don't market her like an NBA player. Shaq is dunking over the rim. That's you're not going to see a lady dunking like Shaq. You're going to see a lady being a lady and doing what they do. Maybe it's politics, maybe it's swag, maybe it's acting, but they do bring a certain cachet, because it's definitely coming across in the cash register when they go shopping, right? So now I think what you're seeing is that connection, and now you're seeing it making sense, because before people was trying to make the argument they don't sell. But I love coaching women's sports. I coach women's basketball, and I turned down so many jobs for a volunteer job that I've been doing for free. I don't get paid. I love the women's game. And now it's kind of, for me, it's great to see. I coach Cal State LA in Division II in Pasadena, California. So come out to a game if we're trying to do our thing this year. But I think the game is going to be incredible. Now, I also wish we could see. I also wish they should have leagues where you lower the rim, because I personally want to see women dunk. I'm coaching women every day. I watch the women game and I watch the men's game. Right now, the 10-foot rim, I want to see dunks. And I hope that don't sound disrespectful. Luckily I coach women's basketball because it's justified. But I would love to see a woman crossover, bang, right? That would just be incredible. So I feel like there has to be some type of league, even if it's not the WNBA. There should be some league where the rim is lower, because I would love to see females dunk more often.
Well, the balls are smaller, aren't they? Balls. The
balls are smaller. Yeah, balls. The ball. They're I forget. Oh yeah, it might be 25.9. I think NBA is 28 or 29.
Okay.
So it is a little small.
Right. If we can, let's talk about our brief conversation. You were talking about you're part of an independent political party.
Yes,
Speak a little bit about that if you can.
Absolutely, man. It's so interesting. I love politics, for one. I started getting into politics when I was 13. When I got into the league, it was I couldn't quite communicate the change that I wanted to be seen. So, sometimes in the hood, when we can't communicate, we poke our chests out. We get in a fight because you can't quite get the words out.
Yeah.
Right. And I told some people I was telling some people from my hood this summer. And I was like, sometimes we can't get the words out. So keep in mind, my jargon has changed. I've been in school and everything has changed. So they was like, man, why are you speaking down on me? I said, I'm not speaking down on you. I'm saying sometimes you get excited, or if you can't communicate, you're going to do it in the form of aggression, or you're going to show people what you're trying to say. You know, so when I got into the league, it was more like super rebellious. And since I can communicate it, you've seen it a different way. But as I got older, now I'm able to communicate, and I find it way more effective. And then you can, and I watch you guys a lot. And I watch CNN, I watch Fox, I watch MSNBC, I watch you guys, I watch a lot of different media. And one of the things that was happening and I got annoyed with was the fear of leaving a party. You know, by default, we're Democrats, and I love my Democrats. I'm personally an independent. You know, I also have a lot of Republican friends, and I'm working with Democrats and Republicans, and I like it that way. You know, like I'm not gonna just not support the country and a president, because the more I give back to the country, the more I'm giving back to people in my neighborhood. That's how I look at it. I'm not gonna, just because a Republican president got nominated, then I'm gonna stop servicing America, because the decisions I make is going to affect people from Queensbridge. You know, I had to go through, my friend, 57 people being locked up while I'm playing in the NBA, a big raid. A lot of those my friends. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of it came from the education, and then, you know, not having a father and family, a father and mom in the same household, not being educated. You know, all the stories that people hear on the Mob albums, on the Nas albums. Well, that was the era that I was in. I was outside during those eras. And a lot of those people that are in those, you know, in those stories, they're very smart. And that hurts. I was telling my boy from Detroit, the Red Zone, and he was like, man, why are you giving back so much? I said, because my people, I used a different word, my people are smart. You know, we're not just ratchet individuals. And we're here in America. And if you're telling me that, hey, every time a president gets elected, and they always try to do bipartisanship. Well, I want to be bipartisan also. You know, I shouldn't have to pick a side. I've never even picked sides in my neighborhood. And my friends had drama. It's just not in me to pick a side. It's in me to be like, to look at the situation. Even my brothers, I'm friends with people my brothers had drama with. So it's just not in me to be like, oh, I'm only going to be on this side. No, because when we're not here any longer, our children is going to still be here. They're going to still be on the same land. So I want to teach people how to work together. You know, yeah, if a Democrat president wins, yeah, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not supporting, even though I'm an independent. You know, I'm gonna be like, okay, what are we going to do what can I do to service, you know, not only the country, but then filters down to our neighborhood, and then to show people that you can work with each other. Just because, you know, I'm from the streets and you from up here in the suburbs don't mean we can't talk. You know, so I feel like sometimes you spend so much time on one side and you're forgetting that you have to communicate with the other side, and vice versa. And the same thing with the Republican. Now, I have different perspectives and questions and curiosities and suggestions for both sides. Because one side, we know what we've been through as a people, as brown-skinned people that came from wherever country we came from. Don't know. I think you don't know. None of us know, right? Wherever we came from, we know what we've been through. And it wasn't only Republicans during that era. It was still two parties during that era, right? So in my mind, everybody's wrong, right? And now we're here. And the reason I love the independent party is because I get a chance to really keep my goals, which is education, financial literacy, family values, but then also understand both sides, but not the sides where, you know, the condescending or the oppression. I'm not interested in talking to people like that. I'm not interested in talking to people if you already have a notion in your mind, right? Oh, you can't do it. You should just fall in line on both sides, you know? And that's why when I was speaking to my buddy RFK, people, you know, and even I got an award from the Biden administration too, which I loved. You know, imagine receiving an award from any president. I'm taking the award. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also, you know, the reason I like RFK, because when we chatted, we spoke, we hiked, and yeah, a lot of some stuff was, you know, I'm not going to get involved in everything. I'm not running for president. You know? So I'm not, whatever problem like he has with the higher up is, That's their issues. That's not my issue. You know how he feels about potential candidate Harris, or how he feels about Trump, or how Harris, presidential candidate Harris, how she feels about President Trump. That's not my argument. It's not my lane. It's not my fight. My lane is what are we doing for people like myself in our neighborhoods where they don't have to resort to selling drugs. They don't have to resort to violence, where they're able to breathe before they make imminent decisions that can cause them to go to jail for the rest of their lives. How can we help the adults that serve time for petty crimes like weed? You go to back in the days, you go to jail for weed, you miss a week, you miss out on education for 1 week. Missing out on 1 week, you're going to get left back. If you miss out on 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're going to get left back because you don't even have the tutors to make up the tests. Right. So here we are with a ton of adults that are not educated, just trying to find their way. And also, we're forgetting about the adults. Yeah, everybody's about Gen Z and the youth. But we're forgetting about the people that sacrifice and suffer, right, before us, that are still suffering because they can't get it back. They suffering. They already have eaten unhealthy. They're already going through health problems. They're already still stressed with no health care for therapy. You see what I'm saying? So from my perspective, I like the independent route because it gives me time to think. I only voted once in my life. I apologize. I only voted once in my life. But it was like I just never knew what side to pick. And I didn't want to pick sides, which is one of the reasons I changed my name to World Peace. I want to bring people together, even though it's ironic because I can't I can't change the fact that I grew up around some of the hardest gangsters in the world. Yeah. Like that's not my fault. I came out through my mom's womb and I was in Queensbridge. But it doesn't mean I don't have a soft spot for people. It doesn't mean like I don't want to see people do well. And it doesn't mean that I can't just dig deep into myself and say, oh, yeah, I do love education. Oh, I do want to see people do better. So from that perspective, I felt like being independent is the best route for me to go.
With that said, because I definitely agree, because I don't think you should vote for anybody if one of or the two or whoever don't appease to you. You shouldn't vote at all. But you'll hear, or especially in media, and in particular, as it pertains to our community, the entertainers, the comedians, the rappers, the whatever the case, they'll almost make you feel guilty as if you don't vote the Democratic side. And in particular, right now, for Vice President Kamala Harris, you see various people even speaking on and trying to bring in the black women versus black men divide. If y'all just want to not support this black woman and just say so, and this is a problem with you black men, which has absolutely nothing to do with the situation whatsoever, but they want to make this a point and try to point it at us so much. What's your thoughts on that and those people?
A lot of black men are in prison. Start there. We were separated from the time we got here. So when you're talking about trauma, yes, there's been a divide. We literally were divided when we got here, right? And we were trying to figure out a way to make it work. And through our moms birthing us, and that old school grandma, that old school mom, they tried their best to keep it together. They had no shot.
Right.
So then the streets raised us. Here we are. You know what I'm saying? Here we are. And we're trying to make sense of it. We're trying to make sense of it. Even back then, I was telling my friend a long time ago, anytime a rapper made it from Queensbridge, and there's a lot of rappers, you never seen a group of girls. You always seen a group of guys. Mm-hmm. Because just, if something is not right with how we viewed women way back when, and that's a fact. And that's one of the reasons why I coach women's basketball. Because I want to support women's sports, and I've been on this for a long time. But I'm a man, so I'm also on team men, also. Right. I'm in California, love California. Like I said, I'm very straight down the line. I'm very open and honest, but I'm very honest in the fact that I'm down the middle on a lot of stuff. I don't really care about a lot of stuff, honestly. But I'm also not going to let it compromise who I am. And I think women do deserve a shot, but I think, you don't have to be forced. You should not have to be forced to do something and feel bad. I can still support VP potential presidential candidate Harris. I can still support her and be an independent. If she happens to win, well, what could I do to add value to the country? I am not going to start, I'm not going to help. I don't want to get involved in that, And then on the other side, it's a different set of, it's a different thought process on the other side. It's two different parties. It's like, how could I give suggestions on the other side? Because I don't really agree with how y'all approach things on this side. So, and I feel like when I post a picture of Biden, I got an award from the Biden administration. I was super happy, even though I was an independent back then. I didn't just become an independent, But when I got the award, I posted and I got, man, why are you supporting Biden? I'm like, hey, the guy gave me an award. Like I won an award from all the presidents. You kidding me? And then I post my picture with RFK. We go on hikes and stuff. And why are you supporting him? You can't win no matter what you do.
Right. Speaking of that, what do you think of RFK's decision to drop out of the race and support former President Donald Trump?
I spoke to the presidential candidate RFK about it. I actually knew that he was gonna, if something was to happen, that he would support. We had conversations and stuff that I'm not going to get deep into. Yeah. And my stance is my stance. He's a friend. My job is to understand how can I best not lead my people astray. At some point in time, they're going to be doing business with both sides. If you're a Democrat, I want you to know that you can do business with independents and Republicans. If you're a Republican, I want you to know that you should be doing business with Democrats, especially my friends. Especially my friends. So from that perspective, I know when you're an independent, you can take votes away from the Democratic side. You can take votes away from the Republican side. Mm-hmm. And obviously he's supporting Trump, obviously. Now, I'm not personally endorsing Trump. I'm not personally endorsing Trump. But I do love my Republican friends. I have a lot of Republican friends. Right? Now, I'm more of a Democrat. I'm gonna be honest. I am more of a Democrat for sure. And I'll be speaking straight up in the room when I'm with my politician, my friends. I don't care. I'm telling you, I'm more a Democrat, but I'm an independent. Right now in this day and age, and I love it, and I'm staying here, and I'm not leaving the independent party for quite some time. Right, but at the same time, if that's okay with everybody else, like I still want to go out and do business and create impact. How other people feel about that, that's not up to me. If they want to continue to engage, I want to engage.
Right. Now you've been in California for a while, a good part of your life, I think so.
It's a wild place.
Yeah. How's Kamala Harris perceived from California? Because when she, was the vice president on our side, we're in New Jersey. We got there. Oh, she locked these black men up. She got a horrible record. But you're right there, though. So tell us, how she's perceived in California and the state that you live in.
And so, I learned about those stories over the last 4 months. Okay. Because I'm more like a social politician, I want to just see things go well for people. I'm not necessarily, I don't read the ins and outs of, governors and mayors and stuff. Right. So when I learned about that is a soft spot for me and a black gentleman who was in prison. I have a soft spot for a hood dude, man. So when I learned it, and now I'm learning more about it. I got a lot of friends that are actually that knows Kamala. Yeah, I got friends that voted for her, just tight and 100% down. I don't know enough about the actual prosecutions and different things like that. Right. But I'm definitely learning more about it as we speak.
Well, let's transition out of politics and get into hip hop, man. Obviously, you were born in Queensbridge, so you know a little something about hip hop. You were born into it. What's your thoughts on hip hop today, as it pertains to a lot of the newer artists that are being promoted and pushed, not only to us but our kids, and just as ambassadors of hip hop in general? What's your thoughts on hip hop?
Yeah, I think. I mean, for one, so many times, vocabulary word is just latched on and glued on to something, that has to do with, Black Americans, Africans, Black people. I'm brown. Look at my skin. I'm brown. That's another discussion.
Right.
And like even Black people, like who made that term?
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly I know my hair's black, and this hat is black, but this is brown. But hey,
Right.
you feel me? I guess I'm black. I'm cool with that. I like the Black people. But I definitely question it. I'm curious about where did the vocabulary word come from. Now, when you look at hip hop, same thing. Yeah, once upon a time it was hip hop, but then I'm not opposed to the new music because I really love the rhythm. Like I don't listen to new music. I listen to SWV, some favorite artists. I listen to Mary J. I listen to old school. I listen to a lot of old stuff, classical music. But you put on a new hip hop beat, I'm vibing. Like I'm feeling it as if I'm 21.
Yeah.
But sometimes the lyrics, when you look at a guy like an artist, a Lauryn Hill type of artist, you look at an artist, a Mos Def type of artist, even a Nas type of artist, and then you look at like gangster rap, and then you look at it's different genres. It's not the same thing. It's okay. I mean, if that's your style, for one, it's different genres.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should respect hip hop enough to give it its own genre. Maybe I want to do a hip hop album, but right now I don't want to be grouped in everything that's in today. So some of the music, I feel like it is a little bit it could be working against the community. It's like going against the current. You're trying to help the community, but sometimes the music, you're like swimming against this current in the ocean. So everything you just did just got washed away. And I get it, because sometimes people go through things, like even when I was rapping and I was in the league and I'm just like getting my stuff out. But as I listen to the music, I'm like, man, I'm not really helping the community. So I took all my stuff off iTunes. You know what I mean? Because I just felt like it just wasn't helping, going against the current. And I think that's where we're at in many aspects of music. Today they literally should give it different genres. That will help out tremendously.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of drill rap before?
Of course.
What's your thoughts on that? Because that is a whole different type of degenerate gangster rap at the highest level.
I know, man. So many times when you look at some, not even Queensbridge, I mean Baltimore, Chicago, New Orleans, Buffalo, all these places where I just want to see them do better, and I want to see more education and more family values and just more opportunities. And it's sad. It's sad. I don't want to get back into politics, but I think when a lot of Black people started supporting Trump was when he was talking about, he mentioned Chicago. If a lot of Black people in America, Chicago, we have a soft spot for Chicago because of what we see, and we want to see it change. We don't want to see babies continue to be harmed. We don't want to see, even though you're not from that area, you feel for them. You feel for Buffalo. You feel for Baltimore. You feel for LA. So somehow we gotta show the parents that's having babies, listen, you're gonna go through tough times and you're gonna get through it. Listen, Dad, don't just leave your child, because you're building something for the future. Right now, certain aspects that don't look good. It don't look great for us. We got a lot of work to do, which I don't know how we're gonna get it done.
I mean, we appreciate your time. Metal World Peace on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. But we got 45 minutes in right now.
Yeah.
I know you're a busy brother, man. So definitely appreciate you, man. Before we get up out of here, let the people know, if you want, where they can find you, what you got going on, what they need to be tapped into in your world, brother. Let the people know right now, man. We always appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on Hip Hop Uncensored. Metal World Peace. I'm kind of behind the scenes these days. I stay out of the media as much as possible, but follow me at Metal World Peace 37 on all social media platforms. And other than that, just keep being good people. And it's good to be on the show.
Thank you once again. Meta World Peace on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. Always appreciate it, brother. We'll do it again very soon.
My guy, good to see you.
I'll talk to you.
Always, brother. You too.